Hey Buzzers, we are finally back after 2 weeks of being missing. We're covering episodes 20 and 21. My finger model is missing. There we go. All right, covering Underneath and Honor Thy Father.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Holy potatoes! We'll let them sing for a little bit. And hello, because it's been so long since we've seen you guys, and we do apologize. Also on the West Coast, we had a baseball game, and that's why we were not here for you last week, because we didn't get to watch Arrow on Wednesday. But anyways, I digress. Welcome to the Arrow After Show. I am Alikona Bradford. Be sure to join us on this end of the table. All you have to do is hashtag ABTV Arrow, and you will co-host with us. Let's say hello to our friends.
Hi, I'm Lex Michael. I'm all over social media at the Lex Michael.
I'm Tari J. Miller. You can find me at Tari J. It's TARIJAY.
And you can find me at Boys and Beauty 01 or on Instagram, yours truly, Alikona, with slashes, those things underneath. And guess where you can find Felicity? Underneath Oliver. Ba-boom, ching!
I get it.
Hey,
Underscore
what?
jokes.
Yeah, hey. I had to get my
They are
Felicity
sexually
joke.
active.
Wow. Okay. That they very much are. Who else enjoyed it?
Okay.
Who enjoyed that? I enjoyed it. We're going to pull up our hashtag soon, and when we do, I'm almost positive I'm going to see all these comments, and everybody's going to be high-fiving me because of the Olicity action, right? Yeah? Mm-hmm. Maybe silence.
Totally. Heck yeah.
Yeah, them.
All over the
Those
hashtag.
cute kids.
Those cute
That
kids.
hashtag
Well,
being
you know what?
ABTV Arrow.
Can I just say, though, I was really surprised during the flashback that they did the dirty, because I thought, you've kept this a secret this whole entire season?
Sure.
And I thought this was an 11-month ago flashback, and they were talking about Damien Dark, blasey, blasey, blah, and then they talked about, what's her bucket's ex that I can't remember, Timmy guy
Which guy?
that died.
Are you
He
talking
died.
about
Billy Malone? Tommy, Timmy, Tiny, Thompson
Yeah, some
guy.
T name.
That guy. So obviously, if they did the dirty 11 months ago, and then between the 11 months and now, she was involved with
Billy
Billy
Malone.
Malone.
the Billies, then you really didn't have time to have that many feelings for him.
Well, wait. Hang on. Where does this fit in the timeline? Because wouldn't she?
Flashback was 11 months ago, and they were talking
Right.
about Damien Dark. He was
Right,
not
right.
around during Damien Dark times.
Right. He didn't show up till season 5 after they had
Correct.
formally split.
Yeah.
But couldn't it be? I mean, that still would place it before she got with Billy, right?
Yeah,
That's what
it
I'm
was
saying,
waiting
though.
for yeah.
So if that's the case, and it was only 11 months ago, that means she really wasn't with Billy that long.
No. Okay. I see what you're saying
Yeah.
now. Okay. I get it. Okay. But my response to that would be, no, you're right. Not enough time. Well,
We talked about that, right? But I'm just saying it just further proves the point that they really were not together that long.
no, they weren't together. Yeah, they weren't. It was
Yeah.
actually really. How long has this season been? Do we know like the full elapsed time of the present day storyline this season?
They're like, we dated 2 weeks, but I'm in love.
I feel like it's been a few months.
Probably a few months.
Yeah.
And I feel like, too, especially when it's like you've been dating Oliver Queen for however long it was that they were together, you break up with him, you're still working together, it's a probably very tough relationship. You meet somebody, finally, the first person you meet that you actually feel like, oh, I want to give this a shot with you, and then this world that you're a part of gets that dude killed. I can imagine that's probably
Okay.
a lot different. Whether or not it was like, he's the one for me forever, I could see that throwing somebody.
Yeah. And then it's not like she was like, I'm gonna marry this dude. It was like, hey, we're dating.
Hey, I love
not...
you.
Had they dropped the L-bomb?
Maybe.
You know?
I don't remember. But
They
I
definitely
do
weren't
know
living together.
really quickly that we don't see the hashtaggy room. So,
Oh, the chat?
You want the hashtag or
yes,
the chat?
The
chat.
chat.
Okay, the
Thank
chat
you.
is different than the hashtag.
Sorry.
I like the hashy tag room, though.
The room, open the room. Let's see it. Sorry. Anywho,
We want to be in the room where
so,
it happens.
well, let's actually talk about the episode now that I'm on one. So, obviously they get trapped in this thingamabobber, and I thought it was very, like my jargon there, it was very clever to me of the writers to write it in a way that Felicity's spinal device did not work, right? And so all these things are going on and they're trapped, but that's just one more element that adds to the fact this is going to sound so girly, but that brings them closer together. And when I say that, I mean literally in a physical sense too, because not only are you talking about things and trying to survive, but everywhere you go, you physically have to pick her up. And as weird as it sounds, right, if you really used to be in love with somebody and you still have feelings for them, something as simple as a touch can bring up even more emotions. And not only is it touch, but she's like literally hugging onto you the entire time. And that's like, you're smelling his neck sweat. That's just enough to be like, I love you again.
Ultimate sign of love.
Neck
smelling
sweat.
someone's neck
That's
sweat.
when you know.
Yeah.
That's when you know. Well, and I can see that. And also, too, removing the chip's ability to help her legs function brings her right back to where she was about a year ago when they were together and they were dealing with this very dire situation that this disability was the direct result of. So it's a little bit of a jump backwards in time for the two of them in that respect as well.
Oh, yeah. Because the moment that she got her leg functionality back was the exact moment that they broke up. I didn't realize that until just now.
Yep. And plus,
Lex.
it makes her more vulnerable, too. Not just physically, but also, like, because emotionally, when you're relying on someone physically, if that makes sense, it makes you more vulnerable. Anyways, I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to say, hey, we got the little roomie up, so it's time to say hello to Casket fan Ivan Soto, Mirma Tropoya. They had sex about a month after Trey breakup. Yes, Stormy Woods, hello. We all know Felicity loves Oliver Sweaty. She said it in Ivy Town. What?
Hashtag
I love you,
neck
Sweaty.
sweat.
I don't know, but let's make it happen. Anyhow, Renji90998, hello. I like Felicity because she calls Oliver on. Yep, she does call him on his shit.
She does.
And that's I liked that part of the episode as well too.
There was a lot in last week's episode that I really liked. If I had one overall issue with the episode, it seems like of all of the things we could be doing this far into the season, more Olicity stuff wouldn't have personally been high on my list. If this is the route that they were going to go, I think what we got was quite good. I was just a little puzzled by the decision to stop our ongoing story to do an hour of this.
Well, and the weird thing is this week when we had this episode, it's like last episode never happened. Like they stopped, they had all their moments, they had their mushes, they had their confession, they had their, which I really liked, Felicity saying, oh, now I really, really understand what it's like to be in your shoes. And then all of a sudden this week, I get you're dealing with Adrian Chase again, but everything stopped. It's like that never happened.
Well, go
No,
ahead.
go.
We did have the one moment when Oliver comes up to Felicity and touches her shoulder and says, if you couldn't find her, then I feel so safe that he couldn't find William. So like I felt like that was the culmination of last week's episode.
Really, that one moment of shoulder touch?
It was hey, I trust you, which is exactly what you've been looking for this whole time.
Okay, and we got to talk about those trust back and forth conversations, but since you did bring up William, what happened to that too? Like last episode, we have that bum 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 moment at the very end of the episode that leaves you on the cliff that says, Adrian just found William, and then this episode, nothing. Like literally nothing, like no nothing.
It does, again, for me, it feels like we took a hard time out last week. And I'm hoping that some of obviously, Chase finding William has got to come back into play before the end of the season.
Well, of course.
It'd be weird if he just went and, like, hung out and chilled at the kid's school or something just to watch him, just because he could. I feel like he is actually that crazy, though.
He leaves him where he is, but he's just like every so often he's like, "Hey, you want to go to McDonald's?"
Like I feel like that'd be a super Adrian Chase thing to do, to not really do anything to William, to just occasionally like pop in, take a selfie with him, and send it to Oliver.
Right.
Just to drive him nuts.
I can do this.
Yeah. I don't know. I just thought that was really weird.
Again, I have to assume that'll come back, but it did seem like that's a real big.
Like, when you leave a cliffhanger like that, you at least think you're going to get a taste of it in the next episode. Just a little.
And it really, it only sticks out to me because, like we're discussing, it really feels like we didn't follow up on much of what we did last week, this week. Even though, again, within that episode, I think all of what was there worked pretty well.
Right. Mm-hmm. I will say the two episodes had themes, and they kept repeating them over and over again in their lines. For example, I had written it down, too. Basically, last week's episode, over and over, you heard Diggle and you heard Felicity and Oliver talk about disagreeing with choices and still trusting each other, which is back to what you were saying. And I like the fact that when you are trapped in a room, you're forced to talk about things you may not normally talk about. And Felicity, again, as she's sewing him up, all sweaty, she says to him, you know, let's talk about this Helix thing, because you, again, didn't back me up. Blasey, blasey, blah. And so we got the back and forth of trust me, trust me, trust me. The shame of it is when she finally comes with a plan and Oliver's like, I trust you. I'm gonna sit back. Go ahead. No. She's like, are you really? Really? And then the plan doesn't even work. Like, it ends up popping a methane pipe. Whoops.
But she failed on her own terms.
Yeah,
I suppose.
Exactly.
It was worth a shot.
You gotta let people make their own mistakes, bruh. You can't just try to protect them.
Which is, of course, another theme that we're seeing hit tonight.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I did like, too, like, talking about both episodes, and I was thinking about it a lot as we watched the episode tonight. I really have to commend the work that they did building their story thematically in both of these episodes. So I can forgive how on the nose occasionally some of the dialogue was. Like when he's literally yelling at Adrian Chase tonight, I'm my own man. I was like, dude, there were just a notch or two down would have been fine. You don't have to speak the subtext of the scene. But again, the way they built all of these sequences thematically, how they set up the little dominoes and were able to knock them down. It's like, all right, you know what? You yell what you're going through thematically, Oliver.
But
you
didn't
do you.
didn't you guys think it was rather strange? And obviously, when we see the preview for the next episode, it alludes to some further interactions with Chase. But I thought it was really strange that when they have their staircase moment, Oliver and Chase, and they're fighting, and Oliver finally decides to get one step ahead of Chase, not by physically doing something, by mentally getting into his head. And I'd like to think that Felicity somehow inspired that, because really that's the only way you're going to break him down at this point. Like, you cannot get one step ahead of him. So what I'm leading this to is the moment that Oliver says, well, basically, yo daddy didn't want you, and Chase just goes, drop to the knees, take my sword. And he almost did it in a very, to me, it reminded me of a samurai movie, like that.
Yes.
Dishonor me, okay, I'm gonna just put my head down, and you can just behead me now.
Well, Tari and I were looking at each other like, oh, he's about to commit seppuku.
Yeah.
That's what's about to happen right now.
Technically, guys, it would be
Harikari. That's right.
Oh.
What's the difference between harikari and seppuku?
So seppuku is when you just kill yourself, usually disemboweling yourself with a short dagger. Harikari, I don't think I'm pronouncing that correctly. Because that sounds really adorable. Is when you disembowel yourself and then someone cuts off your head.
My people are so awesome, can I just say?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's pretty
For
dope.
those who don't realize, I am half Japanese, so that's where that comes. I'm like, yeah, we're real graceful people, aren't we? Anywho, not putting him down, but that's just a little weird. Just a little weird.
I mean, there's like purpose to it.
You know, I get dishonor. I'd have dishonored my culture, my family, my country. I wouldn't go so far as chopping my head off. But if you're gonna kill me, just shoot me. Like the whole disemboweling, and that's just not necessary.
Would you rather bleed out, or would you rather just someone help you get it over with?
But why even start in disemboweling? Just get it over with.
Because the honorable thing to do is to...
What, take your guts out?
Yes.
Have my intestines.
It is everything that is within you becoming to the outside.
Do that after you cut my head off so I don't feel it.
No, you do it to yourself, bro.
Or it doesn't count. That's the whole thing.
Well, let's not count. I'd rather just be... let's not count.
Take off my head, please.
Okay, yeah. Back to the episode.
So wait, are we going all the way? Are we going back to underneath? Because there's a lot to unpack in that sequence that we were just talking about. And again, it speaks to, I feel like they really paid off what they were building to in a way that I thought was very satisfying and I didn't see coming. And again, I have a lot of thoughts about what we actually saw and how much of that is genuine and how much of that is more machinations.
Yeah.
But I like that we got where we got.
Yes.
Go. You got beef?
No,
Beef it up.
not beef, because we're talking about like everything leading up to that sweet what? Okay. Everything leading up
coals burning
to that sweet surrender scene, and like the thing is it had a lot of impact, but at the same time, having the dramatic irony of us knowing that he has William, there's no way that he would have given himself up so easily.
Well, okay, so if we're going to talk about that, I started laughing quietly to myself when we saw the cell at Argus that Adrian Chase is in.
Yeah.
Because, all right, obviously there's more. We saw the promo for next week. Obviously there is more at play here. If nothing else, there was a contingency plan. If he didn't plan to get caught all along, he at least had something in place for the eventuality that he might. But it's entirely possible that he planned to get caught, and that even if he was genuinely struck by the card Oliver was able to play, that he foresaw some version of getting taken, maybe specifically to Argus. And then when I saw the cell, the clear cell specifically designed so you can go and have a badass conversation with the person who's there by choice, I was reminded of like all the other times that happen in movies, like in The Dark Knight and like in The Avengers and like in Skyfall, which isn't a complaint. But of course, it's like if you've watched these movies, you look at this scenario playing out and you're like, oh, he's doing a Joker or a Loki or a Javier Bardem who takes his face out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Which you should actually put them in solitary because it's technically torture. I feel like that's a straight Argus move to be like, you going in solitaire. Hope you enjoy your week, which will feel like a month. And then they come out and they're just like gibbering, and you're like, I guess you're not a supervillain anymore.
But I feel like you risk making Adrian Chase more crazy.
How can you? I think it'll circle back around. Like he'll be like, I had time to reflect. I'm not my father. No one's their father. We're all our own people. Oh, what have I been doing? And then he like rehabilitates himself.
Doubt it.
I mean, there's got to be at least one person for whom that happens in the entire span of human existence, right? Could be Adrian Chase.
Well, maybe.
Could be.
I mean, because he started crazy. Usually people go in sane and come out crazy. So there's a chance that him being crazy already will just send him back around into self-reflection.
Sure.
You know?
Can I just say, sorry to interrupt your really great dialogue.
We're breaking some ground here, man.
I'm about to break some ground, okay? And just say that this is not going to make sense. But, okay, so when not the casket, I saw a casket up there, and I said, oh, when the cement block, the package came in at the beginning of this episode, and they're like, it's a bomb, it's a this and that, Oliver's like, pish posh, I have training, let me just pry it open. I honestly thought, and this is only because of the way they left the last episode, that William was in the box.
Okay.
Or something belonging to William was in the box.
Not that I don't think Adrian Chase would go so far as to kill William. I don't know that I think the show would, as dark as they go, I don't know that the show would go that far.
Hey, they killed my little Asian friend.
That's right, they did kill him.
And he wasn't just dead.
Yeah.
He
They did
got
that already, didn't they?
Yeah, he got a virus and he was oozing.
Oh, yeah,
and
I guess it's
Right,
on
that was
screen.
super unpleasant too.
Yeah.
I was gonna be like, well, the depiction of it on screen wouldn't be so, but that was pretty
gross.
Yeah,
that was not
it
so
was
great.
rough. Though, I mean, if you send a body, like a fully dead body, then you've already played your hand. Like, he could have sent an ear or like an arm with like a note or something like that.
Right, like as long as William is alive and Chase knows he has William, he can always play that card. Whereas once you kill him and put him in a box and send him to Dad,
nothing matters.
that's probably going to be real upsetting,
Yeah.
but like you don't have that card to play anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Really quickly, before we move too far away from it, because we were talking about underneath and all of the themes of trust, did want to shout out, I thought some really nice Diggle and Lila stuff also.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Which, of course, was about the trust between the two of them, and how are we going to do this when it seems like this job at Argus is making you more and more like Amanda Waller, and how can I trust you to be a partner to me and an ally in our jobs, essentially, if that's who you are. And I like that they were able to come to a bit of a reconciliation by the end, because we haven't gotten that much Diggle and Lila stuff this year.
Well, I feel like also, too, they both had their excellent points that they were pointing out to each other, because for a long time when I was watching these episodes, I was pro Team Diggle over and over again, but Lila, I will admit, made a great point when she said, and again, that whole theme with trust and no matter what, yada, yada, yada. But every time Oliver does something stupid and crazy, you have his back. You never question him. It can be just so far beyond, but you have his back. Why not mine? And I think that shut him up for a second. And I do appreciate the fact that she gave him the audits.
So, sorry, also, Winter's, it scrolled up, but I think Winter's Beauty was the name, also pointed out first episode of Legends of Tomorrow, they kill Rip Hunter's kids. So these shows kill children all the time. So I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Girl, we know. Anyway, so
You got to watch him die a bunch of times.
we know Oliver. Someone's okay. Wow, there's a different topic going on, so I'm gonna get distracted. We'll say hi in the chat in just a second. But finishing up, just Diggle and Lila. Yeah, they were calling each other. I thought that was great. And then going back in a circle to Oliver and Felicity, and the same thing of them being able to call each other out and stuff. And Felicity, for whatever reason, and maybe it's because they were in a relationship at one point, she seems to be the only person who can talk any sense into Oliver. So to be able to, as he says, be convincing, get him to put the suit back on in this most recent episode. And then the prior episode, when he finally confessed to her the reason he didn't want her in Helix is because, well, I didn't want you to be like me, but I love to kill. It's my nature. And I'm like, oh, God. And at least Felicity could say, no, boo, you were locked up like for however long with cuckoo pants, and you went through this, and you went through this, and you went through this, and this. Come on.
It is nice. And again, I was never anti-Olicity. I'm just not quite as woo about it as everybody else seems to be. But I really do appreciate how we can, if we are going to take a moment and stop our story to play in that sandbox again, I like that we are seeing, again, still, after all of this time, and especially after all of this time, that trust does exist. And yes, the speed bumps are hit occasionally, but it exists. It's mutual love and it's respect. And he really does hear her because she makes him vulnerable in a way that nobody else. It's like you were saying, it's like she calls him on his shit and everybody else tries to. But she is the only one on that team, I think, that truly makes him vulnerable, with the exception of Thea. And even Thea, occasionally, he's not going to, you're my little sister. I'm not going to, I don't have to take this from you. Put your red outfit on. Come killing with your bro. Stop it. But Felicity's really the only one that can constantly just cut through him completely. And it was a nice thing to watch. And those two actors are so wonderful together.
Great, yeah.
And you guys talked about the timing. I feel like if any time during this season it were to come back and be a thing, this is the perfect time. In that, like, we've allowed her to fully grieve her previous relationship. We've allowed Oliver to grow as a person, and he's like becoming a mentor, and he's having to trust other people. So like they're in different places than they were before, which allows them to make room for what they could be in the future. So I think there was no better time.
I'm going to take a moment. I'm just going to bask in my Olicity, and then I promise you guys I'll stop. But I do have to bring up the rest of the flashback of when they got drunk and they danced a little bit.
Yeah.
Damn.
So, well, they brought back the salmon ladder. I enjoyed that very much. And this is just for the ladies. I know these guys don't really care about this part of the conversation, so it's me and you right now. And I just gotta say, when they, Oliver just took her and he took control of the situation. He flipped her around, and I was like, yes, men, that is how you do it. Take notes.
Okay.
Super sexy. It was just
Flipped.
write it down. Flip it.
Take
control.
Yeah. You can move your
You
hand.
own that.
Okay, sorry, yeah.
Yeah, take pictures of those
Put
notes.
her on
Don't
a
forget.
salmon ladder.
Exactly.
I'm gonna get it in portrait mode if that's cool.
Get
Yep.
drunk.
Yep. What else did I have here?
Have Indian food.
No Indian, because that could result
Did you write down
in...
the underground bunker?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, get
underground
trapped
bunker.
in one of those.
Make sure she's paralyzed.
That's so bad. The last thing I will say, you the look on your... Tari's face was like, what? What's wrong with that?
I need this on my phone anymore.
So, right, let's not get arrested.
Nope.
But last thing I will say, something that Curtis said, and it was such a great quote to me when he was talking to Felicity and trying to convince her, here's the bottle of wine, spend some time, now's a great time, la 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 la. He said, Oliver can change, but the one thing he can't change is the way he looks at you. And I said, yes, whoever wrote that. Okay, I'll let it go now. You guys can talk about the rest of the show.
But it is nice, like I was saying, that there is somebody around that can consistently make Oliver.
He does that to me too. It's okay. When he takes his shirt off, my mouth does the same thing.
But my brain always wants to say Owlver, like an owl with the hood on.
Okay.
Fire and arrows with its talons, which is like, why do you need arrows when you have talons and wings? Anyway, it is nice
Distance
that somebody...
versus up close. Duh.
There we go. It is nice that Oliver does have somebody around that can consistently make him that vulnerable, because without Felicity as a counterpoint to his pain is everything that I am. Like, it's gonna get tired, not even just for the audience, but for like all his friends.
Yeah.
Like, this guy it's already tiresome for them very often. So it's nice that she's around to mitigate that somewhat.
Yeah. What did I want to say? I wanted to talk a little bit about Lance and Renee, because we've had some nice moments. They're obviously, to me, it almost seems like the son Lance never had, and also at the same time, he's slightly living vicariously through Renee, because Renee has the opportunity to have a second chance with a daughter.
Yep.
And obviously Lance does not. And so I was really happy with the speeches and the support that Lance gave. I was not so happy with Renee. Like, I understand where he's coming from. He really, really thinks he's protecting his daughter, but he's not putting himself in her shoes.
No, and it's tough because there are ways that Renee could have his cake and eat it too, but it would be very shady and not like you could do that, right? So you could have your plan in place where it's like, no, she'll stay with this foster family that gives her a good life. But then, because you're a vigilante that hangs out with vigilantes and does vigilante stuff, you could still like pop in every so often and be like, I love you.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
but
peace.
I don't know. It's though, even though you have an amazing foster family, and look, I'm not from that background, so I can't speak on it, but there's probably a piece of you that's like, well, that's my dad, and that's my real dad, and I want a chance to really get back with him and get to know him again. And Lance made a great point about you not showing up. You think that's less harm because you're doing good for her, but not showing up and not explaining it.
And you saw the close-ups on his daughter too. I mean, that ending of that particular storyline in this episode was absolutely heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But maybe I'm just trying to like hold on to a little piece of optimism. I got to assume at some point they will afford Renee an opportunity to connect with his daughter. It's obviously not going to be
now
or this way. But because his whole arc this season has been about just scraping the dirt and the grunginess off to see the heart of gold under there. It's like, you got to give him a little bit. Give him this little thing.
Yes. I'm gonna.
You got beef?
I got beef,
Beef it
son.
up, beef it up.
I got beef, son.
Beef it up.
Double-decker patty, son. I feel like, in a way, he's right, though. I think that he should have, like, visitation rights, but I don't think he should have full custody. Because he is a vigilante, which means he's going to be gone at night. He's going to be kidnapped sometimes. This isn't his first time being kidnapped.
No, yeah.
So, like,
I can agree with that. I definitely think it's probably in the girl's best interest not to be, because if she's part of that world at all, if she's connected to that world at all. I mean, look at what we did. Adrian Chase kidnapped Oliver's son, and he was pretty well hidden away.
Right.
So as long as you're in constant contact, if you're under the same roof, then yeah, I mean, all of their loved ones are potentially targets for their enemies.
Yeah. So he's got to either give up being a vigilante before he can even think about getting his daughter back. Like, I love the sentiment of him trying to reconnect with her. I think that he needs to get his house in order before he does so.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying the way he went about doing it. He should have sat down and explained to her, I want to see you, I love you, I want to have visitation rights, but Daddy doesn't have, whatever, his shit together without the cussing. But to not show up, it does seem like Daddy just doesn't want me. Like, how dare you just not show up without an explanation? That's A. B, I gotta call somebody out in the chat. Ivan Soto, sir, you do not yell in caps. That's why sometimes we do not read your comments. It is not polite. So, I will say this. Sarah does exist. I'm not saying that she does not exist. But she's not existing on this show right now. So therefore, he is not able to connect with Sarah, and he's still, I think, living vicariously and, of course, still mourning over the loss of Laurel. Now,
well, in fairness, okay, Sarah is alive. But she did die that one time, and he did have to live through her death that one time.
That one time in band camp.
And it's like she came back to, in fairness too, she came back, right? And she's alive again, and then suddenly she's away on a time ship, and they never see each other at all.
Right.
So that's probably, that's got to be exhausting.
She's not
you know what
in
I mean?
the scene. The point is she's not physically there at the moment. That's all.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Anywho.
But anyway, the parallels to his own situation that he sees are, I mean, it is heartbreaking. Your heart genuinely breaks for Quentin Lance because, yes, even though Sarah is alive having time adventures, both of his daughters died.
Right.
Yeah.
One of them died twice, or like as far as he knows, died twice.
Yes.
Because she died on the Queen's Gambit, died finger quotes as far as he knew, and then she came back, and then she died for real.
That's a lot.
It's a lot, man.
And the point is just that he's saying, look, I'm a dad. I don't have my daughters with me. she's right there. Your daughter's right there. Just be a dad. That's all.
And the part that like got me was he was talking about like you have this opportunity to create memories.
Yeah.
And like you're making a choice right now that will preclude your opportunity to create those memories. And I wasn't given that choice. My daughters were taken from me, even though again Sarah's having time adventures.
Right.
My daughters were taken from me. I wasn't given that opportunity. So to watch you make that choice, like that's brutal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It just seems not fair almost.
But do you guys think that Renee was kidnapped, or do you think that he just didn't show?
At this point 50-50 probably, right? Because again, we know there's a bigger plan happening.
Right.
And we know that probably next week people are going to be starting to get picked off a little bit, whatever picked off means.
Yeah.
I imagine we're not going to kill our entire full cast.
That'd be neat.
Wouldn't that be okay? I'm not rooting for this, but wouldn't that be a bold move?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you be like, I'm devastated, but I have to applaud the audacity.
I mean, especially because they made it such a big cast. They're like, all right, yeah, we can shave some of these people. No one's a series regular. As long as we keep Oliver, Diggle, and Felicity alive, everyone else is free game.
Oh.
Man, that's sad.
Setting up next season, Oliver broods again.
This is going to be the darkest year of our adventures, you guys.
Yeah.
Oh. Speaking of dark adventures, the guy that fell in the cement had a very dark adventure, and Dad did push him in. What, you like my segue? Oh.
So speaking of, I had this moment when they fell into the cement pouring trap. All right. Tari, you've seen Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith.
Yes.
Alikona, have you seen Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith?
I can't say that I have.
Okay, there's a moment that feels like we needed something to happen here, and we couldn't really justify it in a way that totally tracked logically. So because we need our characters to be in this position, he had Obi-Wan and Anakin, when they get trapped by these beams, Obi-Wan says out loud, "How did this happen? We're smarter than this." And that's what I thought of, because it's bewildering to me a little bit that they fell into this particular trap.
Yes. I mean, I think that they probably wrote the like cement block piece first, and then they were like, we're gonna do this sweet homage to the Joker, right? We're gonna have them on a railless bridge fighting over something, and then he's gonna fall in, and then that will create a dead guy. Yep.
Yeah.
I think.
Did anybody else, this is so irrelevant to the storyline, but did anybody else think that cement that was going into Oliver and Diggle's little space just didn't look like cement? Like, it just looked like liquid. I was like, that's really runny cement. And why is Diggle so upset? And Oliver's like, cement is pouring in. Like, that's it? Nothing?
Because he's doing his character.
Yeah.
He's doing his...
So monotone. Like, not even freaked out at all. Like,
No, he's
cement's
very
pouring
method.
in.
He's very method. When he's in his gear, he never breaks character.
Totally.
Yeah. No, but I actually know exactly what you're talking about. The second shot, when we saw the floor, the bird's eye shot, basically, that looked like concrete. The first shot looked real milky.
Water. Like, it was just gray water.
I mean, that's how non-set, it was really well mixed. You're used to seeing it real chunky, needing to be smoothed out. Come on, guys. I don't know how much carpentry / construction you guys have done, but that was grade A concrete.
Were you going to say crap?
No.
Grade A crap. Let's talk about the flashback. It wasn't crap.
Oh, yes.
So we're back on the island now.
Yeah.
And we're back on the island. It's supposed to be, 48 hours before the pilot, essentially. And did I understand this correctly? Did Anatoly give him a disguise in a bag, essentially?
Is that what that was? I couldn't figure it out.
Yes.
I looked down to make a note and looked up and went, and what?
Okay, so that means that Oliver Queen, within the world of this series, was wearing fake hair.
Yes.
The way that Stephen Amell, in the meta life of this series, was constantly wearing fake hair. You guys, I love it.
Yeah.
That's maybe my favorite thing that has happened in 5 years of this program.
The fact that he's gonna be wearing a beard over his beard.
And now I want to go back. I want to go back to the pilot. Like, I'll probably go home and pull it up on Netflix tonight and be like, it's a great fake beard.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, but I guess it's like we've met, even if you didn't watch any of the other shows, like Human Target alone existing in this universe, like clearly they've they got disguises down pretty well.
Yeah. And his friend was chameleon, so it must be a real good. Though, like, you have to imagine that. I assume it's clothes as well, in addition to a weird beard. Weird beard.
Hashtag weird beard.
Yeah.
But I would assume that Anatoly was also like, let's get them measured, because they have to fit in a certain way as well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you get this fit so perfect, Anatoly? We make cast of your face while you sleep. We do it to all Bratva so we can make flashback hair for them.
That's actually really impressive Russian.
That's
I
good.
love the idea that Anatoly's got a side business. Not like taking his buddy's old disguises, refitting them for all of his friends, and then giving them as gifts.
That would be awesome. Merry Christmas.
Welcome to Anatoly's costume shop.
But anyway, no, but we see them try to formulate the whole plan of Oliver being a castaway and how he gets discovered, because we really don't know that from the pilot. So if it truly is Anatoly, because he's like, we'll find, a fisher boat or something. Well, did Anatoly hijack the boat or just shoot some bombs towards it and scooted them along towards the island so they happen to go off course and find Oliver? And then...
No, he said Oliver told him to bribe the
I
ships.
missed the bribe. I just thought he was going to do something violent.
Oh, no, he was like, yeah, pay them some money, tell them to come in 2 days, have a good day.
Bring donuts.
Bring donuts.
Along with the bribe.
Oh.
It's like the friendliest bribe because it's the bribe, but it's also donuts.
Oh, and we have to bring up like the biggest point, because somebody in the chat was like, "Oh, so anticlimactic." I actually appreciated the fact that I could see Oliver trying to make it a castaway situation, but also, hello, Slade's mask, which we know he's coming back before the season finale. So I just thought that was a nice little taste of, guess what's coming.
I guess, right? I mean, I don't want to get too far into predictions. Like, I have thoughts about how that's going, because we did see in this episode. Oh,
What?
maybe we did see in this episode. The last thing we saw in the flashback is Kovar very much not dead, and it was hinted at clearly very heavily that he was going to return at some point.
Yeah,
we weren't sure if it was going to be in the flashbacks in the present day in a different season. I speculated at one point, is he gonna be the Arrowverse's version of KG Beast? He looks the same. It's pretty good, all things considered.
Yeah, I think he had like a distended jaw. Like, that was the extent of like his like deformity. I'd have to go back and rewatch.
Yeah, he had
but
like something like a scar thing happening.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And on the CW, scars just don't happen to be that altering,
No, they're actually like the sexiest possible scars.
Well, I know. So if you think about it, Oliver has all these scars all over his muscles, and it's great, but not one single scar on his face.
Nah.
I don't know.
With all the torture he's been through,
yeah, it is a little weird.
All the bad guys were like, "Your face is too pretty. We'll leave it alone."
He
But
would
the
at
rest
least
of you
have like the cauliflower ears. He'd have like his nose would be broken in 18 places.
Right? No,
Renee's the only one with a face scar.
he is, but it works for him.
Right.
Like, it's not one of those. Ooh, it's more like, ooh, he's a badass.
Because he's rough and tumble.
Yeah.
I mean, and don't forget about the scar that killed Mufasa. That's the worst scar
Yeah.
of all.
Wow.
Yep. That joke happened, guys.
And so anyway, in the chat, hi. Just kidding. John Lichtenberger. I heard a LOL. Let's hope that he's LOLing for you. Wilson! Oh, it sounds like they're talking about...
I think again, it's scrolling pretty quickly, but I think comparing the Slade Wilson mask to the Wilson volleyball.
Oh, that's funny.
But see,
Hilarious.
guys, you can't put stuff like that in my head, because the odds are we are never going to see an episode of Arrow that is 1 hour of Oliver Queen talking to the empty Slade Wilson mask.
Which would be amazing.
And now that I know that that could happen in some reality and it's not happening in this one, I'm going to live the rest of my days tortured.
Oh,
Just write
Thanks,
it.
guys.
It's fan fiction, bro.
do it.
I'm going to do it.
You're an artist.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to sell it. I'm going to be rich.
Dang, son. And then you gonna get sued.
Yes, I'm going to be rich, and I'm going to lose it all, and then some.
Hi.
Yeah.
Somebody said hi. Hi.
Hi.
Slade doesn't have an eye. That's so random.
Great.
Comments.
Thank you for the fact, Casket Fan.
But hey, you know what? He's still sexy, so Sorry.
Yeah.
None of the boys are appreciating any of my comments.
Yeah, he's so hot. You don't need eyes to be sexy.
One is good enough for me, boo.
Dang.
That.
Hey,
we predict
Jesus,
now?
Jesus, Jesus is happy we do this.
Me too.
We're happy you join us.
Okay, so should we should probably, right?
Yeah. Can we predict now?
We got it because we got to tie all this stuff up.
Okay, fine. I think I've covered just about dang everything, haven't we? Let's see. Notes, bullets, canaries.
Yeah, I mean,
Because now everything else that I feel like I want to talk about is all me speculating.
feature stuff. Okay.
The only one thing, we got the return of Samson.
Oh, yes,
he
very
was cool.
important.
He was fine.
But okay, see, but like I
Stardust.
think it's noteworthy that we have to tag him back into the conversation because
Right.
it seemed like a bigger deal would have been made over Samson coming back. It seemed like he was, and it was fun to see him.
Yeah.
I actually think Cody Rhodes, I'm not a huge wrestling person, so I wasn't super familiar with him before he showed up on the show the first time. But I think he's a lot of fun. I think he's a really fun presence to have around, and it was a little weird to me to see him back tonight in what felt like a very minor role.
It was very Beeline story, and the only thing I had written next to him was Secret of the Ooze, because I kept thinking, like, Ninja Turtles, the secret of, you know? And I feel like there is something significant. I mean, they mentioned the fact that he was potentially working with Chase, so perhaps he'll come back in the future as part of a bigger scheme, and going into, if you will, predictions, the fact that Chase had made the comment in the teaser, if you will, my friends are gonna kill your friends. So maybe he's one of the friends.
Maybe.
Let's just get into predictions.
Yeah.
AfterBuzz TV
Yeah.
predictions.
So, all right. I walked right up to this line before, but obviously we know that Slade is coming back at some point. We saw the mask, and we've seen now Oliver get taken by Kovar to who knows where. Presumably, if Kovar had a way onto the island, he's probably got a way off the island, but we're really holding, right? It is definitely 48 hours before the pilot, right? Where this isn't some weird arbitrary figure that got thrown at us and they might fudge a little bit.
I mean, it could be that, like, in that 48 hours, he actually does miss the boat. And so we get another week of him being like, well, how do I wait until this stray boat comes? So, like, it could be 48 hours, or it could be longer.
What are the chances that in the flashback, Slade helps Oliver escape from Kovar?
They're not enemies yet at that point, right?
I mean,
Yes.
not quite
He's a
as
little
hard as
cuckoo
they.
for Cocoa Puffs, but he's not
yeah.
like.
They're not quite as hard. I don't think they're at "I'm gonna kill your mom" quite yet.
Right.
Well, you know what though? Okay, I read an article. I feel like I read it out here. Is eventually, and I guess I forgot this too. When they captured Chase tonight, and we almost thought it was the end of the chase. The whole climax of this show, bringing all these characters back for the season finale or maybe the preseason finale, was that Oliver is going to have to call on friends like Slade to help him. So if and when Slade comes back, I'm almost positive he's on Team Oliver, not on Team Chase.
And in present day, from the sound of it, potentially.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be an interesting rekindling.
Yeah, I feel like if they were to convince Slade to join, it would have to be like a weird Vegeta kind of thing where
Fajitas?
Yes, a weird fajita kind of thing.
Be like, we know how much you like fajitas. I'm not much of a cook. These are some weird fajita things. Please help us.
Yeah, so just like that, but where they're like, where Slade comes in and he's like, I'm the only one who gets to kill Oliver Queen. I could see that being his only real motivation. Otherwise, like, I don't see why he wouldn't want to just, like, cheer on Chase.
Right.
Yeah, but okay, that would be weird if he joins his team just to kill him later, because why not join the team and kill him now?
Because that's not how...
TV works?
That's not how Vegeta's storyline goes.
Yes,
Okay.
that's not TV
Sorry,
enough.
fajitas and tacos. I apologize.
That's too real world revengey. That's not TV revengey enough.
Sorry, excuse
Yeah.
me.
TV revengey happens so slowly that you have time to arc into more of a hero
Right,
than
of
you were
course.
when you wanted revenge in the first place.
Ooh, okay, so we're in predictions. Really quick. Prediction. We got to have Thea come back. She didn't come back for no purpose, just to see that Dad's really a killer, and then just to see that she... Which was weird, because 5 seconds ago she hated Dad, and all of a sudden, because he left his sweet message, sweet little girl, I'm proud of you, I miss Dad. Really? Because 30 seconds ago,
It's been a rough day for Thea.
Yeah.
I think a lot of emotions. I do think it'll be interesting to see how Thea takes this idea, this shared epiphany between the two of them of really living not for the memory of our father, but living for ourselves.
Right.
It'll be interesting to see how she chooses to pick that up and run with it, because there is one school of thought that suggests maybe she will finally overcome her fear that she will give in to her bloodlust and she'll suit back up and go out with the rest of the team, especially since it seems like we're going to need all hands on deck pretty soon.
Yeah.
And there's another school of thought that says that she won't, but I feel like she's gonna.
Really?
But she also might not. But I feel like she's gonna.
I hope she doesn't. Because I like bureaucratic Thea. She is everything that I wanted Laurel's character to be. In that, like,
Ooh, get off
okay,
the
all right, okay. I like bureaucracy.
So anyway, you know what?
I love it.
Here's the thing.
I think that's
Here's
it's
the
better
thing.
for her for sure overall.
Yeah.
But what she said when she came back and Oliver said, "How are you doing?" and she said, "Not good," and she made some sort of reference. Where's my paper? I don't know. But she made some sort of reference saying that she's figuring things out, and it seemed like she's a little bit lost, and I feel like even though she's independent, she's still fighting who she is. So I honestly predict that she will join the team again. That's my prediction. I'm going to leave it like that.
I like the aesthetic of there being a Speedy. I like because that's the iconography that I'm familiar with going back years and years and years. I like when you can see Oliver in the green suit and you have Speedy in the red suit next to him. We've got now a much more colored. We have some color guard
We need
doing some flag stuff
purple,
out with them. No, we have a much more colorful
turquoise.
ensemble than we did a few years ago.
Yeah.
Now, but I missed that splash of red.
I mean, maybe they will get Artemis to come back.
Oh yeah, where's she?
She's
Somebody
doing
in the
stuff.
chat said she was the one babysitting William while Chase is off doing his thing.
Oh, that could be.
Right.
That's quite possible.
So maybe they'll rehabilitate her, and she'll become the new Speedy, and then Thea can keep being the
No, I don't like her.
bureaucrat that we love.
Nope, already betrayed my
All
trust.
of the bureaucrats.
Get out. Bye, Felicia. Okay.
Oh, okay. We'll see
Anywho-
you guys later.
No, no,
I'm
no.
Tommy J. Miller. You can
What?
find me at...
So, well, actually, it is probably about that time. So why don't we all look at the front and just stare at everybody?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How's
Like
it going?
you.
Yeah.
Hey.
Hi.
Anywho, okay, now really though, thank you so much for those of you who were joining us in the chat. You stayed up late, or perhaps wherever you're located in the world, you woke up early. We really appreciate it. But if you couldn't, that's okay. Leave your comments below on not Facebook. You could do that too,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
preferably on YouTube. And also continue the conversation. You can find all of us on social media. I'm at BoysandBeauty01 on the Twitter, and then on the Insta, I am yours truly, Alikona, with some dashes on the underscores. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, my turn?
Yeah.
My turn.
Yes,
I'm
son.
Lex Michael. I'm all over social media at the Lex Michael. And if you're a fan of DC on the CW, on ABTV, bunch of us are all over it. There's 2 more episodes of Supergirl this season, and me and Tari
Correct.
J. Miller talk about those on Monday nights. Legends is done for the season, but if you are a fan of the Legends of Tomorrow panel, me and Dave Child are joined by Tara Erickson, and we're breaking down Fargo every single week. That show is crazy good, you guys. Come join us. We love you.
And I'm Tari J. Miller. You can find me at Tari J. It's TORIJAY. And again, here on ABTV, on the Flash panel, Supergirl, Arrow, as you know, and Doctor Who.
Doctor what? Okay, so again, turning to the front, we're here. We want to wish you goodbye, air hugs, air kisses, all those
Oh,
things, and we
okay.
will see
I'm
you
gonna keep my
next
hands
week.
to myself.
Mwah. Goodbye.
I'm not.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Weird beard on my face. Weird beard face.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.